everything about me, everything about me, everything about me, everything about me. Yeah. Everything about me. Hey, 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 hey. Everything about me, everything about me. Yeah. Okay. I'm sitting waiting and I'm wishing on the stars.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the One More Thing podcast. I am your host, Ash, and I am so excited for you to join me today as we begin day one, episode one, season one of the One More Thing podcast. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. It goes all the way back to when I was in high school watching talk shows like Steve Harvey, Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah. If you don't like Oprah, we got a problem. It's okay, but it's all right. But I love Oprah, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this. I would be, as a kid, just freaking interviewing myself and talking to myself and figuring out how I would want to do something like this. So given the venue and given the opportunity, I am very grateful to begin something like this. And so first of all, I want to thank for the space and everything we're doing here. Given the space by one of my best friends, Talitha, who's my producer here. I am like beyond ecstatic to do this. I've been practicing for hours on end just to really start this thing. So One More Thing really grew and became a thing because I have the literally the best friends in the whole world. It's taken me so dang long. And if you're out there thinking about, I've been losing friends left and right, well, that is a part of life. I will say that. But I have found my people, my circle, my true blues, my ride or dies, the people that will hopefully accept most of my calls, or some of my FaceTimes, but it's okay. It was really born out of wanting to have deep conversations about life, why we're here, talk about all topics, which you'll hear from the beginning of this podcast. We're going to talk about love this season. We're going to talk about trauma we're going to talk about so many things, and I'm so excited for you to join us. And join me on this journey. I'm going to have so many guests on this podcast, friends of mine that will have shared experiences. But before I go on about that, I think it's important to introduce myself, because you don't know me. This is episode one. My name is Ash, and I am 30 years old, and I live in West Hollywood, California. I lived in LA for about 5 years now. I went to school in Ventura County for college, but I was born and raised in Monterey, California, to two loving parents. I come from a Filipino-Italian background, and let me tell you, part of that, me, who I am, and my values, family is so important to me. That's one of my top values. You probably will hear 500 things about my family during this journey with me. I'll probably talk about my mom a lot. My mom is probably watching going, dang, he's finally doing this. Here we are. I will talk about her a lot. Watch. I made pasta the other night, and I called her. I was like, what am I doing wrong here? So you'll hear a lot of things about my mom on this podcast. But most importantly, like, I've wanted to do this for so long, and again, this podcast is not just for me. It is for you to be in a safe space. Hear some experiences, not just from myself, but from guests we're going to have in the future, and just have a really safe space. This podcast really is dedicated to empower you guys through meaningful dialogue, shared experiences. We will be diving deep into topics. We talked about the seasons about love. We're going to talk about trauma next. We're going to talk about relationships, spirituality, everyday life lessons. Really just creating a space for healing, self-awareness, personal transformation, and it'll be at one honest conversation at a time. So I want to, again, welcome you to the One More Thing podcast. This season, like I said, is about the topic of love in all of its forms. We're going to talk about, breaking it down the next episode really in the simplest terms, but it would not feel right starting this podcast without talking about, when people think about love, people think about love, they think about the word romantic, and it's not just that. Like, it's family, can do, self-love and all other things, but it would not feel right to start this podcast and this journey without dedicating this podcast to my little brother. He passed away about a few months ago, very, very unexpectedly. Like I said, I'm 30 years old. He was 20. He was going to be 28, and this could not come at a perfect time. I think this podcast will be dedicated to those who really just need a space to heal. And this is not just for me to heal; it's for you to heal as well. I want to hear from you. I want you to share anything in the comments, and I will be more than happy to answer those. I am here for you. You are here for me. We're going to grow this podcast together. This is the One More Thing podcast. So, like I said, this podcast, for having losing my brother, I really did not expect that to happen. And so, a love of a sibling is something that I cannot explain. If you don't have a sibling or you have a chosen sibling, if you're an only child out there, like, you know the feeling of that, like, one person that knows you, like, the back of your hand, really. We shared bedrooms next to each other. We went to the same grade schools, we went to the same high school, and we shared a beautiful, beautiful relationship. I cannot fathom him still not being here, but I'm still trying to make sense of it all. And one thing I probably have learned from this whole experience, that it's not supposed to make sense. It really isn't. So with that, like, I want to share the story of what happened, out of privacy for my family. I'm not going to share every detail, but give you a synopsis of this first experience that I never thought I experienced. I am so new to this kind of death. And death is such an interesting topic. Maybe we'll talk about that very soon. But really, what happened is that I work in event promotions, and so it was the one Sunday I had off. I was gonna make my favorite meal, go to the gym, relax, watch a good movie, have his friends over, etc. Well, that didn't happen. The night before, event promotions, everything like that, and nightlife, I get home at like 2:33, and so my cousin was like, "Can I call you?" I said, "Sure, absolutely." She goes, "Well," I picked up the phone, I got home, and she goes, "Well, have you heard from him?" I said, "No, I haven't." And she goes, "When was the last time you talked to him?" I said, about a week and a half ago. And evidently it was about tech issues, which, like I said, I can't do any of this behind me without my producers. So that's the length of my tech skills. But I called him to fix my phone because I was like, "What is this going on with my phone? I don't know what's going on." So so she goes, "Well, his best friend contacted my sister asking if you heard from him. It's been about a week." And so I've heard all these things, and it's like the same timeline. No one's heard from him in a week. And so I said, "Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's get some rest, and we'll figure this out in the morning." So I said, "Call me around 9:30 or 9 o'clock or earlier if there's something dire, and we'll figure it out." So she actually called me at 8:30 ish. I answered the phone. I said, "Oh, please don't tell me we have to put this in hyperdrive." And she goes, "We do." I said, "Why?" She goes, "Well, he's not answering his phone. Text messages are not going through." And I said, "What's funny is one of his friends messaged me on Instagram going, 'Have you heard from your brother?'" I said, and I told him the exact same thing. And so my cousin goes, "Well, one of our aunts was up near where he lived," and I was like, "Okay, so let's just, you know what? She's there. Go knock on the door. Maybe he forgot to charge his phone. Maybe he was out late with his friends. I don't know. He was in college, so I just assumed maybe we went out partying, whatever it was." I did not think what was going to happen next, and so what happened is that she was like, "Okay, well, she's gonna go there, gonna do a check." And my aunt knocked on the door. My uncle yelled through the window, and I was on the phone with him. He goes, "Well, it looks like there's a body on the bed, but we don't know if it's clothes or it's him or whatever it is." And so my uncle goes, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "We'll call the police. They can do a health check on him, and and they can get access to the door. So within seconds of the police coming, they walked in and they said, no, he's deceased. He's gone. So you ever seen those movies where someone gets dramatic news and they drop their phone or they faint or whatever it is? I had a drop the phone moment. Um, it was like I honestly thought he had just forgot to charge his phone. Like, typical 20-year-old guy just forgot to charge his phone, but I got off the phone. My uncle goes, you need to get up here. So I ended the phone call. I dropped my phone. I tried putting a bag together. I don't even remember what I put in there. I was like, oh, I need to put my necessities. So I think I grabbed my phone charger or my laptop. I grabbed all my necessities. I didn't know where I was going. Am I staying the night in that area? What am I doing? Um, Drove 3 hours there, and it was like pulling up was probably like the worst feeling. And like all I knew what to do was park and run to my mom and comfort her because she was there first before me. So I did all that. I comforted her. She was there with her dog, my cousin was there, my aunt was there. I had another one of my aunts, her husband, um, and then my dad showed up about 40 minutes later. Um, I think one thing I'm grateful about the situation is I did not want to see him like that. So by the time I got there, they had already taken his body away. So um, this walking into the apartment, I held hands with both my cousins and was like, I want to see what this scene looks like. It was, this is a love of a sibling, a love of like literally like my best friend from day one who used to scream at me and like the fights that we had. He was the most physical fighter. Like I'm just like love, peace, harmony, and he's all just like bam, 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 bam. So losing someone like this and just like it just was awful. And like my dad pulled up and that was his best friend, that was his mini me, and seeing like my dad's face just like flush and just like he just finished crying, like it's that image is still ingrained in my mind. And like I was helping my dad, we were cleaning and stuff like that. I was super duper lucky to grab some items and have stuff of his. But the reason I'm sharing this full story with you is because I do not wish this experience on anybody. This is my first experience doing this. And it's just going to the funeral and the viewing, and like everyone asked me if I wanted to see him in a casket. And I said, you know what? I do, because I feel like this would be a form of closure for me. I'm still waiting on autopsy results, which I can't believe I'm using the word autopsy for my brother. Wild words I still keep coming out of my mouth. But I wanted to see him like that because I really wanted to form a closure. And it just like, until that point, I thought this whole him being gone was fake. Like it still feels weird and unreal. So if you are someone that is going through grief or has experienced just an unexpected passing, and whether it be suicide or alcohol poisoning, whatever it may be, like just know that it's okay. And one thing, like I said, one more thing that I've learned about this is to not blame yourself. There is nothing I could have done to prevent this. As much as I would be like, oh, I wish I would have called him more, wish I would have done this, wish I would have done that, but there's absolutely nothing I can change about it. I think what's gotten me through this whole thing is my perception of death and how I see death. I really think like this physical form is just one part of the human energy, life, whatever you want to call it, experience. He's physically not here, but he is all around here spiritually. Anytime I've asked him to be here, he's there within 24 hours. He'll show me a sign. He'll visit me in my dreams. Whether you believe it or not, I see apparitions. I've seen apparitions of him. I've I've seen where it's like this hummingbirds fly past my face. Like it's just what I'm trying to say is if you've lost a loved one recently and you are a very spiritual person, this person is definitely around, and I can bet you that they will show up when you least expect it and when you want them to visit you. So, like I said, I really that is just honestly just a sneak peek of what is going to come to this season. This season about love. Um, it's literally all about love. This is why I'm doing this podcast. It's about passion, why I love helping people. I love talking to people. I love the human connection, really. Um, and in the next episode, we're going to break down love in its simplest terms. And you know what? And also, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of love, a little bit of fun in there. Just you wait. You'll see what's going on. This is an intro episode. This was just to break the ice with you all. So I'm so excited for you to join me on this journey. And if I can add one more thing, if anybody hasn't told you today, I love you, I believe in you, and you can do anything you set your mind to, and the world is yours. So thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow and share as we expand this safe space together. Like this, like I said, this space is for you, and you will see so many of my friends that are going to come on here and just share their experiences. We are in this together. I am so excited. This is one more thing.